Yeah, still taking headlines from the Open newspaper. Ondo Suburb, UBEC trained 200 teachers on climate change greening school initiative. And now to the details. The Ondo State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, in collaboration with the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has concluded a 5-day capacity building workshop for over 200 teachers and education stakeholders under the Greening Schools and Climate Change Education Initiative. The workshop, held in Accra, was aimed at strengthening climate change education, environmental sustainability, agricultural entrepreneurship, and practical agricultural learning in public basic schools across the state. Declaring the workshop open, the permanent secretary of the OTSUBEB, Princess Abike Bayo Ilawole, described the initiative as a major milestone in the board's commitment to building environmentally conscious schools and equipping learners with the knowledge, values, attitudes, and practical skills needed to agree the growing challenges of climate change and environmental degradation. According to the program formerly known as Agricultural Education Training Program, has been repositioned and rebranded as the Greening School and Climate Change Education Initiative to align with emerging global realities and contemporary educational priorities. She explained that the initiative seeks to integrate climate action, environment and conservation, sustainable agriculture, food security, ecological restoration, and green entrepreneurship into the basic education curriculum. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Open newspaper with the headline, Ondo Suburb, UBEC trained 200 teachers on climate change greening schools initiative. Yeah, still on the newspaper and now talking terrorism. Fresh 3 Ansaru members get life jail. And now to the details. The Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced 3 men linked to the abduction of pupils and teachers in Oriri's local government area of Oyo State to life imprisonment. The trial judge, Justice Salim Ibrahim, ordered that the sentence should take effect from the date of the convict arrest and finding them guilty of terrorism-related offences connected to the school's abduction. The convict, Abdulrazak Umar, also known as Abu Khalifa or Abu Khalid, Yunusa Musa, Yunusa bin Musa, and Shamsu Adamu Sani, also known as Abu Itisa, were convicted on charges of terrorism, kidnapping, concealment of information, incitement, and illegal mining. The federal government accused the trio of belonging to Darussalam, an affiliate to proscribed terrorist group Jamaatul Ansarul Muslimina fi Baludi Sudan Ansarul. According to the prosecution, the defendants, all from Suleja local government area of Niger State, conspired with other suspects between January and May 2026 to facilitate the abduction of school children and teachers in Orire local government area, Oyo State. The government further alleged that they concealed information about the identities and activities of the masterminds despite having prior knowledge of the planned attack. During the trial, the defendant admitted concealing information about those responsible for the school attack and acknowledged their membership of the Darussalam. While all 3 pleaded guilty to counts bordering on concealment and membership of a proscribed organization, Omar also admitted providing training and instructions to members of the group through WhatsApp platforms known as the Oneness of Allah is the Foundation of Peace. They, however, pleaded not guilty to the remaining charges. Following the guilty pleas, the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Rotimi Oyedepo SAN, urged the court to convict the sentence and sentenced the defendants on the counts of which they had admitted guilty. Defense counsel pleaded for leniency, describing the convicts as first-time offenders who had shown remorse. He urged the court to consider their family responsibilities, noting that they were married with children and had elderly parents dependent on them. However, the prosecution argued that the convicts knowingly concealed information about the terrorists and failed in their civic duty to alert security agencies. Justice Ibrahim subsequently convicted the three men and sentenced each of them to life imprisonment. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the old newspaper with the headline, Terrorism, Fresh 3 Answer members get life jail. Yes, still taking headlines from the old newspaper. Legal Practitioners Committee confers third rank on 68 lawyers. And now to the details. The Legal Practitioner Privilege Committee has confirmed the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria on 68 legal practitioners. The LPPC Secretary and Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, Kabil Akombi, disclosed this in a statement issued recently. Akombi said the decision was taken at the committee's 174th plenary session held on the 23rd of July 2026. Part of the statement reads in our quote, "The rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria is conferred as a mark of professional excellence upon legal practitioners who have demonstrated exceptional distinction either as advocates in the court or as academics, contributing significantly to the development of legal scholarship." If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the old newspaper with the headline, Legal Practitioners Committee confers third rank on 68 lawyers. Yes, and now I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. Walkout rocks as state police bill passes. I think that again. Walkout rocks as state police bill passes. And now to the details. The House of Representatives have approved the constitutional alteration bill seeking to establish state police across Nigeria. Despite a protest and walkout by members of the minority caucus, who argued that the legal framework required for the refinement and constitutional amendment process was not properly followed. The bill, titled a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide or establish the establishment of state police service and for related matters, secured the constitutionally required two-thirds majority after consideration by the House. The legislation was transmitted to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu as part of the administration effort to decentralize policing and strengthen country security architecture amid persistent insecurity across several parts of Nigeria. If it is harmonized with the Senate's version, approved by at least two-thirds of the 36 state House of Assembly and assented to by the President in line with constitutional requirement for the constitutional amendment, the legislation will create the constitutional basis for the establishment of state police services. Presenting the report of the House Committee on Constitution Review, Deputy Speaker and Committee Chairman Benjamin Kalu described the proposal as one of the most significant constitutional reforms in the Nigerian security sector. He commended President Tinubu for transmitting the executive bill, saying it reflected constructive cooperation between the executive and legislative arms of government According to him, the amendment is designed to bring policing closer to the people, improve intelligence gathering, strengthen community policing, and enable state government respond more effectively to evolving security threats. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Walkout Rocks House as State Police Bill passes. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu approves expansion of Nigerian army to 12 divisions. And now to the details. President Bola Tinubu has approved the expansion of the Nigerian army from 8 to 12 divisions and the recruitment of 28,000 additional personnel to strengthen the country's security architecture. The move, according to the presidency, is aimed at improving the operational effectiveness of the army and enhancing its capacity to respond to Nigerians' evolving security challenges. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, disclosed this in a statement recently titled, Ononuga said the approval underscores the president's unwavering commitment to equipping the armed forces to address Nigerian evolving security challenges effectively and to strengthen national defense capabilities further. The expansion is a part of administrative broad investment in the military, including the recruitment of additional personnel, acquisition of military platforms and equipment, improved troop welfare, and support for force modernization. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Tinubu approves expansion of Nigerian army to 12 divisions. Yes, so now to international matters. U.S. imposes 12.5% tariff on Nigerian imports over forced labor claims. And now to the details. The United States has imposed a 12.5% tariff on imports from Nigeria as part of the new trade measures targeting countries it says have failed to prohibit the importation of goods produced with forced labor. The tariff affects imports from 60 economies that Washington says have not imposed the effectively enforced the prohibition on the importation of goods produced with forced labor. The measures was announced in a statement posted on the website of the Office of the United States Trade Representatives recently. Nigeria is among the countries subject to the 12.5% tariff, while India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Mexico, and the United Kingdom will face a lower 10% rate after adopting or committing to the implement bans on imports linked to forced labor. The move followed investigations launched by the USTR in May 2026 into 60 of the United States' largest trading partners under Section 301 of the Trade Act. According to the agency, it received more than 1,600 written submissions, held public hearings involving over 100 witnesses, and consulted more than 45 governments before announcing the tariffs. The USTR said countries that have already implemented or committed or to implementing forced labor imports prohibition would attract a 10% tariff. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, U.S. imposes 12.5% tariffs on Nigerian imports over forced labor claims. Yes, still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper. Army declares soldier wanted for selling military uniforms to terrorists. And now to the details. The headquarters, Nigerian Army Ordnance Corps, have declared one of its personnel, Private Muhammad Yusuf Amutu, wanted over his alleged involvement in the illegal sale and supply of military uniforms to terrorist and other criminal elements. The Corps announced this in a statement signed by the Assistant Director of the Army Public Relations Headquarters, Nigerian Army Ordnance Corps, Major Oluwatope Aluko, saying preliminary investigation linked the soldier to the alleged illegal activities after he absconded from his unit. According to the statement, Amutu, who was serving at the Nigerian Army Ordnance Kit Factory, absconded from his unit on the 3rd of June 2026. Consequently, he has been declared wanted by the appropriate military authorities, while intensive efforts are underway to locate and apprehend him to face a full investigation and appropriate disciplinary action in accordance with the extant military laws. The court stressed that it had zero tolerance for misconduct in discipline or any act capable of compromising the operational effectiveness, integrity and reputation of the Nigerian Army or threatening national security. It's one that any personnel found to have aided terrorists, criminals, or other non-state actors through unauthorized sale, diversion, or distribution of military uniforms, counterarms, or other controlled items will be subjected to the full weight of military and civil laws. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Army declares soldier wanted for selling military uniforms to terrorists. Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Like I said earlier, it is a program where we preview and review headlines making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. Right about now, I will go on another short break. When I get back, the phone lines will be officially open for comments and contributions to the headlines and news that has been read out to you. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, and I will be right back. Yes, glad you're still there. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. For comments and contributions, the phone line is officially open. The number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. And now back to the Punch newspaper. Enugu hair incident, shots Benin runway, NSIB begins probe. And now to the details. Panic gripped passengers and airport officials after the Enugu aircraft carrying 63 passengers and 5 crew members veered off the runway and ran into a surrounding bush after landing at the Benin airport in Edo State, prompting a safety investigation and forcing Air Peace to suspend all flights to and from the airport. The Embraer E-170 aircraft operating as Flight 4264 from Lagos to Benin with registration 5NENR overran the end of runway 05 at about 3:10 p.m. local time. Emergency responders, however, confirmed that all passengers and crew members were safely evacuated without injuries. In a statement issued shortly after the incident, Enugu Air assured the public that all occupants had safely disembarked. The airline said, and I quote, Enugu Air wishes to inform the public that one of our aircraft operating into Benin experienced a runway excursion after landing today. We confirm that our passengers and crew have safely disembarked and there were no injuries or casualties. The aircraft has been secured and relevant aviation authorities have been notified in line with established procedures. As a result, there may be temporary adjustment to some flight schedules. Passengers affected by any changes will be contacted directly and provided with necessary assistance. One of the passengers, Benjamin Modi, recounted the tense moment on board, saying the aircraft appeared to touch down usually late before continuing towards the end of the runway. In all, we thank God, he repeatedly said during a telephone conversation with newsmen. He added, and I quote, I can't really explain everything, but what we noticed was that the aircraft didn't touch the ground where it was supposed to land. It landed almost at the end of the runway, and the plane just kept going until God helped us to stop it where we eventually stopped. We all disembarked safely, and we thank God. It could have been a different story today, but God spared every one of us. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Enugu Air Incident Shorts Benin Runway and SIB Begins Probe. Yes, the phone lines are still open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest, like I said earlier. The number to call is 0816 552 4699, 0816 552 4699. And now I take a flight to the Daily Post newspaper. Boko Haram recruits kidnapped children after losing fighters as presidency. And now to the details. Daniel Bwala, President Bola Tinubu's Special Advisor on Policy Communication, has disclosed strategies used by Boko Haram to recruit children. Bwala disclosed that whenever Boko Haram starts losing members, they invade villages and kidnap children whom they recruit. Appearing on Channels Television Politics Today, Bwala said, and I quote, when Boko Haram starts to lose their members, they go to villages and carry children and take them to the bush and recruit them. These are the people you recruited against their will. If something happens in the camp, they escape and they come to Nigerian government and they said they have repented. The Nigeria will not shoot them. And that is why I said the dynamic of armed conflict is guided by the United Nations Convention. The other part of your affair, as expressed by most Nigerians, is that we have had cases where some of them ran back. Even the governors of Borno once said that some of the attacks that research probably have connection with some of those that ran back. In warfare and conflict, these things are possibilities. Even when it comes to established institutions of state for foreign intelligence, we have seen defections of people to another place where they are recruited. These are the realities of facts. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Boko Haram recruits kidnapped children after losing fighters as presidency. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, Tinubu's government alleged appropriation of 8.5 billion naira for mosques, churches, stirs controversy. And I'll choose the details. President Bola Tinubu's government's decision to dole out 8.5 billion naira for the construction and renovation of mosques for Muslims and churches for Christians across the country has stirred sharp criticism. While some see the move as trivializing the socio-economic and security challenges that have enveloped the country, others see it as a political tool to win the people's support ahead of the 2027 presidential election. There are others who believe the government is being insensitive to the yearnings of millions of Nigerians who are traditional worshippers and those who belong to other faiths as well as few atheists. The first to fire the salvo is the former vice president and presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. In a statement by his senior special assistant in public communication, Frank Shaibu, Atiku lamented that while millions of Nigerians were grappling with crushing poverty, the federal government was earmarking 8.5 billion naira for religious-related projects. He made reference to an analysis by a public accountability organization, Tracker, saying that about 1.91 billion naira had been allocated to church-related projects and 6.14 billion naira to mosque-related projects. Atiku further noted that while faith occupies a sacred place in national life, it must never become the sanctuary for opaque budgeting and questionable public expenditure. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Tinubu's government alleged appropriation of 8.5 billion naira for mosque churches, their controversy. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, DSS rescues 4 remaining kidnapped Polytechnic students in Zamfara. And I'll choose the details. Operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, in Zamfara State have rescued all 4 remaining kidnapped students of the Federal Polytechnic, Kara Namahoda. This was disclosed in a statement posted on X by security expert Zagazola Makama. Makama said DSS operatives relying on intelligence rescued the students, comprising 4 males and a female, without any ransom paid. According to him, one of the kidnappers was arrested during the operation, while others did not survive. The students were said to have been kidnapped on the 3rd of June at their off-campus hostel in a low-cost area in Kara Namoda town after armed bandits stormed the building and seized 6 of them. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, DSS rescues 4 remaining kidnapped Polytechnic students in Zamfara. Yes, so on the Daily Post newspaper, Atiku funded my impeachment plot with 5 million naira, says Obasanjo. And now to the details. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has made a shocking revelation of how his vice, Atiku Abubakar, funded his impeachment plot with 5 million naira during his first term in office. Obasanjo made the allegation in response to Olusegun Osoba, former Ogun State Governor, over comments relating to the political event that led to the 2003 general election. In a statement, Obasanjo claimed that the late Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gali Nahaba, was encouraged to commence impeachment proceedings after a meeting with Atiku. Nahaba impeachment began at the presidency by the vice president, who on a Friday when I was out of office invited Nahaba to his office and convinced him, as he had convinced himself that some others, but of insignificant amount, that I should have only one term as president. According to him, financial support was provided to facilitate the process, adding that Atiku gave Nahaba 5 million naira to start his impeachment work. On Friday, Atiku invited Nahaba. He gave him 5 million naira to begin his impeachment work. It was all noted, recorded, and reported to me by my chief of staff, a professional intelligence officer. Obasanjo said everything was noted, recorded, and reported. The ex-Nigerian leader also explained that he was not troubled by the impeachment threat because he believed there was no constitutional basis for removing him from office. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Atiku funded my impeachment plot with 5 million naira, says Obasanjo. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, talking on your abduction. Kidnappers should face death sentence, not life imprisonment, says Buhari's ex-aide. Now to the details. A former media aide to the late ex-president, Muhammad Buhari, Bashir Ahmad, has suggested that the appropriate punishment for kidnappers should be death sentence and not life imprisonment. Ahmad maintained that life imprisonment is too lenient for the crime of kidnapping. He made this view known in a post on X while reacting to the Abuja Federal High Court ruling that sentenced 3 suspects involved in the kidnapping of students and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State to life imprisonment. Justice Salim Ibrahim ruled that the sentencing of Abdulrazak Umar, alias Abu Khalifa, Abu Khalid, Yunusa Musa, alias Yunusa bin Musa, and Shamsu Adamu Sani, alias Abu Itisa, will start from the date of their arrest. Prior to the judgment, counsel to the accused had prayed that the court would sentence them on liberal terms. The counsel noted that the defendants were first-time offenders and had pleaded guilty. Reacting, Ahmad wrote, and I quote, "Life imprisonment seems too lenient for the crime of kidnapping. In my view, the appropriate punishment for convicted kidnappers should be death penalties." If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, "Or your abduction, kidnappers should face death sentence, not life imprisonment," says Buhari's ex-aide. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, Aviation Minister Kiyama reacts to Enugu Air incident, orders investigation. And now to the details. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has reacted to the crash landing of Enugu Air at Benin Airport in Edo State. In a post on his verified X handle, Keyamo said he had ordered all relevant agencies to work closely with Inioluwa to unravel the cause of the incident. Recent reports recall that aircraft crashed in Benin City Airport yesterday. Following the incident, Airpeace Aircraft suspended all its flights to and from the Benin Airport after the temporary closure of the airport runway following the runway incursion. Reacting, Keyamo said, and I quote, "I have been duly informed that the incident with Enugu Air yesterday in Benin is that the aircraft skidded off the runway after landing successfully. It is called runway excursion in aviation terminology. Everyone was safe. I have directed all relevant agencies to work closely with Enugu Air to unravel the cause." If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Aviation Minister Keyamo reacts to Enugu Air incident, orders investigation. I take a flight to the nation's newspaper. Technical glitches resolved. INEC assures Nigerians of credible 2027 polls. And now to the details. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed confidence that it has overcome the technical challenges that affected the electoral transmission of results during the 2023 general election. The Commission assured Nigerians that next year's poll will be free, fair, credible, inclusive and transparent. INEC also announced that it was considering conducting a nationwide mock exercise on the electronic transmission of election results while ahead of the 2027 general election to further test its system. INEC National Commissioner Abdullahi Zuru, who represented the Commission's chairman Professor Joash Amukuta, at the Policy Roundtable on Electronics Transmission of Results organized by Yaga Africa, said the Commission had learnt from the shortcomings recorded during the 2023 election and had significantly improved its deployment of election technology. Delivering the chairman goodwill message, Zuru recalled that INEC had consistently called for legal backing for electronic transmission of election results before the 2023 general election and had successfully deployed the INEC result viewing portal in several off-cycle elections before expanding its use nationwide. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline, Technical glitches resolved. INEC assures Nigerians of credible 2027 polls. Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Our time is far spent on the program this morning. Right now, I will go on a short break. When I get back, we will call it a wrap on today's edition of In the Papers. Yes, and with that, I have come to a wrap in today's edition of In the Papers. I hope this review has kept you informed of conversations making rounds in the papers this morning. Until next time, I am Inioluwa Adekoya. Have a wonderful day and stay tuned to iPower 102.7 FM for endless list of entertaining and informative programs coming your way. God bless Nigeria.